Welcome to today's Explainer, demystifying beat store architecture from front end to back end. Today, we're going to bridge that gap between being a talented music producer in the studio and actually becoming a successful online business owner. Let's dive in.
So it really all comes down to this one ultimate question. You've spent hours upon hours in the lab. The mix is absolutely pristine, and you've produced a total fire beat. But how do you actually turn that into a functioning business? Because having an incredible track sitting on your hard drive definitely doesn't pay the bills. You need a system. You need a platform that lets a rapper or singer halfway across the globe stream your track, instantly realize they need it, and then securely hand over their money for your high-quality files. And building that kind of system, well, it requires a few different pieces working seamlessly together.
To get a handle on how this all works, we're going to look at a really clean, modern template we're calling ProBeats. Think of this as your visual storefront. Like, if this were a physical brick-and-mortar record shop, this is your beautifully lit window display and your high-end listening station. In the digital world, it's exactly what your users see and interact with the second they hit your web address. The ProBeats layout gives us a sleek beat catalog and a fully functional audio player. It's all about creating that premium first impression that tells visiting artists, hey, you're a professional they definitely want to work with. Now, how does that visual storefront actually come together? It's built using 3 core languages, and they each have a specific job. First up, HTML. That provides the skeleton, the headers, the navigation, the actual containers holding your beats. Then we layer on CSS to give it that really sleek, modern dark theme, using those deep grays and a striking primary accent color. And finally, we inject JavaScript to make the whole thing interactive. That's what actually powers that sticky audio player anchored right there at the bottom of the screen. Together, these 3 elements create what we call the front end. And if you look at how the front-end code structures the catalog, it's designed perfectly for the buyer. It showcases vital details instantly. You've got tracks like Midnight Vibes and Summer Breeze, and right next to the title you see, it's a 120 BPM trap beat in C minor, or a 95 BPM R&B track in F major. Toss the $29.99 price tag right there, and you are giving artists literally all the exact information they need to make a really quick purchasing decision. But here's where we hit a bit of a brick wall, and it brilliantly illustrates the limitations of just having a visual template. In our ProBeats code, when a user clicks the play button, JavaScript seamlessly grabs the MP3 URL and the track immediately starts bumping through their speakers. It feels exactly like a real native app. However, when they click Add to Cart for that $29 track, they just get a standard JavaScript pop-up alert that says Payment Integration Required. Womp womp. Absolutely nothing is being added to a cart, and more importantly, zero money is changing hands. This really highlights the ultimate division of labor here. The front is entirely about what your users see, hear, and click on. It's a beautiful, interactive brochure. But the back end? The back end is how you actually get paid. You simply cannot run a business on HTML and CSS alone. To take this ProBeats template from a cool visual demo to a real bank account filling business, we have got to build the invisible infrastructure behind the scenes. Which brings us to the next phase, the essential back-end engine. It is time to look at the stockroom and the cash register of your online store. To build this engine into a living, breathing architecture, you generally need 3 standard components. First up, a database. Technologies like MongoDB, PostgreSQL, or Firebase are totally perfect for this. Second, you need incredibly robust file storage, and Amazon S3 is pretty much the undisputed industry standard here. And finally, you absolutely need a payment gateway. We're talking services like Stripe or PayPal to handle the money securely. These 3 pillars work together to finally replace that annoying little pop-up alert with a real, functioning transaction. Let's unpack those, starting with the database. Think of this as literally the brain of your operation. Instead of hard-coding your track titles and prices directly into an HTML file like we did in the initial template, the database remembers everything dynamically. It holds your beat titles, your varying prices for basic versus exclusive licenses, the BPMs, and the hidden locations of your actual audio files. And crucially, it stores user purchase history. So if a customer accidentally deletes their download, your system already knows they bought it and can automatically issue a fresh link. Next up is file storage, and we need to pause here because this brings us to an absolute, non-negotiable security principle. The golden rule of file storage is this: never, ever host your high-quality WAV files directly in your website code. I really cannot emphasize this enough. If you link your pristine, uncompressed master files right there in your HTML or JavaScript, literally anyone with basic web browser knowledge can just right-click, inspect the code, find the URL, and steal your beats for free. You have to protect your assets. So how do we actually pull that off? By splitting your audio into two completely different tiers. On the front-end preview player, you only serve tagged, low-quality MP3s. These are compressed files with your producer tag playing right over them, so they are effectively useless to a thief. Meanwhile, your high-quality untagged WAV files, the actual products you're selling, those are locked safely away in a secure storage bucket like Amazon S3. They are completely invisible to the public internet until a purchase is confirmed. And that leads us right into the final piece, the payment gateway, which is the key that unlocks those secure files. Here is the exact customer journey. Step 1, the customer clicks buy and Stripe processes their credit card safely. Step 2, Stripe pings your backend and says, yep, the money is securely in the account. Your backend verifies the payment. Step 3, only after that verification, your backend talks directly to Amazon S3, generates a unique, temporary download link for that high-quality WAV file, and automatically emails it to the customer. And once that specific link expires, the file is locked down again. That right there is how a secure, automated business operates. So, choosing your path forward. You've seen the front end, you understand the back end. Now what's the next step? You basically have two main paths here. First, if you're comfortable with programming, you can code all this yourself using something like Node.js or Python. This route gives you ultimate, absolute control and zero ongoing platform fees. But if you'd rather spend your time just focusing purely on making music, you can use a no-code or low-code platform like Shopify or a specialized marketplace like BeatStars. These platforms already have the database, the S3 storage, and the Stripe integration completely built in. They handle all the heavy back-end lifting in exchange for a monthly fee or a cut of your sales. Which brings us to the end of our explainer. So I gotta ask, are you gonna roll up your sleeves and code this back-end yourself for total control? Or will you leverage a platform to instantly launch your storefront today? Either way, you now know the exact mechanics running behind every successful online beat store. Thanks so much for joining me, and go turn those beats into a real business.